Hi guys, my name's Madi Donaghy. I'm revamping my channel in order to highlight what my true passion is, and I want to share that with you through this particular video. If you know me today, I'm that health and fitness gal, and I get made fun of a lot for it, but honestly it makes me so happy to think about because I wouldn't want to be known for anything else. I mean, it would be nice to be known for other stuff, but especially this. This is really, truly what I live, eat, sleep, and breathe, but not in like a psycho way. I've always struggled personally with looking at the girls that are super skinny, and that's always what they've looked like. Like the people, I'm more particular talking about people on Instagram, and they're skinny and fit, and they've really never had to struggle and grind in order to get into a healthy shape. And they're normally the ones that guys look at more. They're normally the ones that get noticed because that comes easier to them. And I find that it's a lot easier to preach something when you've not had to struggle through it. They're like, oh yeah, I just eat ice cream because it doesn't affect me. So I never related to that, and I tried to. I looked at those girls and I was like, why can't I look like that? But I've never been able to relate to them. And I've also never related to the people that are fitness people that's their job. Because in order to keep your job, you have to maintain a certain build and physique. So I never related that to that either, because I've always had so many jobs. I've always been in school. I've always had so many things going on in my life. How am I supposed to relate to someone that's always been skinny or does this for a living? So that's part of the reason why I felt like I needed to start this channel. So I was diagnosed with a condition called PCOS when I was 16 years old. PCOS is a condition called Polycystic ovarian syndrome. And as a teenager, it had a lot of negative effects on me, and it still has effects on me, but especially when I was a teenager, it really messed me up. I dealt with things such as really bad acne. I had dark hairs in areas where men grew dark hairs, and it was terrible. Like, I would have dark hairs on my chin, I would have it on my chest, like something that most girls don't have to deal with. My period only happened every one or maybe twice a year. And then I started having hair loss, and then there were some internal things going on too. So when you have PCOS, your androgen levels are increased but significantly. I had high levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone in your body. I also had excessive insulin levels, which made me maintain weight a lot easier. And I also was at risk, knowing that when I researched it, that I might have a problem with fertility. And that scared me, especially as a 16-year-old, thinking that one of the most amazing things that can happen for a woman is getting pregnant, and being afraid that I might not get pregnant. Now those things were hard to face. But when I got treatment, the problem was that the treatment didn't regulate everything that was being caused. After I got treated, I had even worse acne, and then I started gaining excessive amounts of weight. I had these drastic mood swings, and I was emotional, and then all of the symptoms that I discussed just a few seconds ago, a lot of those still remained. The main priority was for me to get a regulated period, and that started to happen, but that didn't mean that everything else got fixed and was happy and dandy. I got told two really upsetting things, and nobody wants to hear this when they're young, but I had it when I was going into my junior year. I had a homecoming dress, and this is when I was battling everything, and I got told if I wanted to fit into my homecoming dress still that we had bought a few months prior, that I was gonna have to change my diet. And no 16-year-old is thinking like about dieting. Like, that was so hard to swallow, and you're already at a vulnerable state being a teenager in high school and just wanna fit in and feel like you're pretty. And I didn't feel pretty, and I felt so insecure that I had to start watching what I had to eat when everyone else around me wasn't. And it was so hard and emotionally draining. I remember even on homecoming crying because my skin hurt to get makeup put on it because my acne was so bad. And I'll have pictures of that and everything, and I'm not gonna try to go into too much detail today. But the second thing that happened was I got told if I wanted to look the way I wanted to, I would probably have to eat close to nothing. And like, it gets me really emotional to think about, because after learning everything that I know now, that's so hard to hear, that someone's saying that you would have to eat almost nothing to look the way you want to, because there's so many builds out there, there's so many ways to fix that. But in that moment, that was what I was told, and it was really hard because I took that seriously later in my life, and I'll get into that in a different episode. But getting told these things was just so emotionally draining and not anything I wanted to hear, and I just felt like I had nothing. I felt ugly. I had nothing going for me. I went through a roller coaster of anger and frustration. I went from being way too skinny as I approached and went into some of my college. I also went through the times where I was way too big, and I just started trying to eat like everyone else, thinking that it was no big deal. And the craziest part was that I wasn't just your average Joe. Like, I'm not saying I was a baller, but I was a 3-sport athlete for the most part, and I went on to play college soccer. And all throughout that time, I was still battling weight and all of these other symptoms. So it was crazy, because it was like, why am I able to put in all this extra work as an athlete and do things that I knew I was capable of, but I was still holding on to weight and I was still having all these symptoms? Like, it just didn't make sense. But the biggest thing that I had to tell myself is I didn't want to be defined by my syndrome. There was no way I was gonna let this syndrome define my lifestyle or define how I looked and how I felt. And I wouldn't let this break me down. The goal in life is to be able to share my journey, share my tips and my current routines, and promote a healthy, happy, and balanced lifestyle that between fitness and health that's maintainable. Because a lot of times people promote something where this food thing takes 5 hours to make, and is that maintainable? Or I just don't relate to everyone, so that type of promotion that I see a lot of times on Instagram and stuff is just not maintainable. So how can I live a maintainable life and share that with you guys and it be realistic? I'm not that girl who's had it easy, and I'm not that girl who doesn't work for what she wants. But what I am is a girl that doesn't want me or you to have to struggle alone, and I'm here for anyone that feels that struggle too. So in my undergraduate, I ended up studying nutrition and health, and it's opened my eyes into a lot of different techniques, tips, and I've learned a lot of stuff outside of school too, because I love learning about nutrition and health. But now I'm in my master's degree, and I'm getting a master's degree in public health. And the biggest thing for me is I'm always learning. I'm always learning how to balance my life out better, and it's never going to end. Like, my life is never gonna end of me having to learn different ways for me to balance out my life. I fluctuate weight quite frequently, and I'm just different, and that's okay. But I don't want to have a syndrome. I don't want you guys to have any barriers that make you feel defined and feel like you have limits. This is my biggest thing to say to anyone and to myself, is you are your only limit. So let's not find ways to prevent us from being our best self, but let's break down those barriers and work through this together. I'm gonna go into a lot more detail about my experience with PCOS throughout the last 8 years, But this was just my intro and trying to explain why I'm so passionate about it. And to be honest, I wouldn't really be that into health and fitness, I feel, if it came easy to me to maintain a physique, or to food didn't affect me, if exercise didn't affect me. But I'm grateful for this syndrome. I used to not be, but I'm grateful for it now because it's taught me and made me appreciate being fit and being healthy and enjoying it and finding ways to better myself and to now help better other people. So yeah, so I look forward to saying, well, that was weird. Cool. I look forward to talking to you guys more and kind of going into more depth, but this is just an initial thing. And like I said, I was kind of scared to come on here and talk again, but I really just feel this calling and feel like other people are probably struggling with the same thing as me, and I don't feel like there's that many people out there that are able to come from a place of struggle. And yeah, so I'm here to share the struggle, but share that I'm not gonna let the struggle define me. And I hope that through time, you guys can do the same. Subscribe, like, anything, comments, I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys very soon. That was cheesy, very soon. So yeah, I don't even know how to end these, but bye.